like, this is such a safe place. I went out clubbing, coming home 3, 4 a.m., a bit drunk, paying for my taxi. Somehow I dropped my wallet. I don't notice it. I'm going to bed. I'm like, it was a great night. I'm happy. I'm tired. Let's sleep. By the time I wake up, someone has found my wallet on the street, given it to the police. The police recognize the address on my ARC, and they call my mother-in-law and they say, "Do you have a foreign daughter-in-law?" And she goes, "Yes." And they go, "Well, we have her wallet." So, but by the time I wake up, 11 the next day, I have a text from my mother-in-law saying, "The police has your wallet, you can pick it up." And it still had all of its money, all the cards, everything still left.
What? That's crazy. Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we have the honor of having a fellow Swede here in the studio, Julia.
Hi, I'm Julia. I came to Taiwan originally to study Chinese for 1 year. And when I finished my studies, COVID was happening and I was with my then boyfriend and I applied for a position at the Swedish Chamber of Commerce and I got it, but I couldn't switch visa without leaving Taiwan. So we decided actually quite quickly to get married. And then I was at the Swedish Chamber for a while, and then I started working at the American Chamber of Commerce, first as the associate editor, and now I'm the senior editor and the head of our publication section.
Trader, as we call it in Sweden.
Yes.
How much did you know about Taiwan from Sweden? Because I had never heard about Taiwan before coming here.
So I did an exchange in my undergraduate in Hong Kong, and I fell in love with Hong Kong. I loved it, and I decided to study Asian studies. And then through that program and a student association, we actually went for a conference in Taipei in 2018. That's when I met my husband for the first time. He is Taiwanese, but he was living in Berlin, and he was in Taipei for 2 weeks for his best friend's wedding. So we both went on Tinder. We were like, okay, nothing to do, you're traveling, just have some romance. And then we ended up hanging out every day for a week. And then we realized, so the closest airport to me is Copenhagen Airport. Copenhagen to Berlin is like 45 minutes. Before COVID, it was 20 euros was the cheapest round trip you could find. So we just dated there for 9 months before we moved to Taiwan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was his plan then? Because if he was in Berlin, he was also willing to come back to Taiwan.
He wanted to stay, but ironically, he had a hard time with his visa because he was working as a chef. And they're quite strict. They're like, you have to prove that there's not a single German who can do your job. So, and I wanted to move to Taiwan. So he was like, okay, let's just go. But the ironic part was that we met with a lawyer and they said, well, the easiest way to stay in Germany is to get married. And he said, no, I'm not ready for that. And then like 6, 8 months later, we were married in Taipei. So we could have stayed in Europe. But I'm happy we ended up here. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In the Swedish chamber, you have written the official guide on how to get married as a Swede to a Taiwanese.
Yeah.
And after the proposal and engagement with Mintia, I'm going to walk like hopefully the same path as you have. Can you just like quickly just explain to me like what do I have in front of me? Like how is it easy to get married to a Taiwanese?
I thought it wasn't as difficult as it could have been. I'm not going to say. A lot of people have troubles, and I think the hardest part was doing all the research, and that's why I wrote, it's the official, unofficial guide, because I couldn't like represent and say this is the official guide, but the official, unofficial guide. It's a lot of paperwork, but if you know all the steps, it takes some time, but it's okay. I think for Swedish people, it's a bit easier than for some other countries because the first thing you need to do is get a certificate from your home country, some kind of proof that you are not married in your home country.
It's not enough with like a Facebook status?
No.
No, okay.
You cannot get a Facebook status. In Sweden, we get it from the tax office, and it says whether you're single or married, and if you've been married before, to whom, etc. So you just need to get those documents certified. That's the tough part, getting all the documents from Sweden stamped and then sent to Taiwan. And then after that, I think it's pretty smooth sailing. You need like the copies of your passports and IDs. You need the basic stuff. The basic stuff, the marriage paper signed by 2 witnesses. I think it went pretty okay for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you married in Sweden as well?
Yes.
And is this a very similar process there, or like can you just show that you are married in Taiwan and then they just like expedite it basically?
Yes, exactly. So in Taiwan, it took me a few months to get everything sorted out and to get. Funnily enough, I hadn't told my parents yet I was getting married, and then I ordered the tax. I ordered the tax register. I wanted to surprise them, but then the tax papers
with a letter from the tax office saying your daughter is about to get married. Here's the proof.
I didn't realize that they would realize what it was about. Like they were like, "We got some papers from the tax office. Are you getting married? Because why else would you apply for this paper?" I was like, "Oh shit."
That's pretty smart parents, though. I don't think my parents would understand.
No, I didn't think they would understand, but they did. Shout out to them. They're very intelligent people.
Wow. And speaking about Sweden, I'm actually right now in the middle of packing my bags for my upcoming trip to Sweden, which is why I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, NordVPN, for protecting both my computer, my phone, and my iPad through my entire trip, regardless if I will connect to some unknown, weird, sometimes might even be false, fraudulent Wi-Fi networks. Just as an example, when I was living in Bali for 1 month 2 years ago, the Wi-Fi we had at our Airbnb was so unsecure, so YouTube wouldn't even allow me to upload videos unless I was connected through a VPN to make the entire internet connection more secure. But between you and me, what I'm actually busy doing right now is just to change my internet connection on my iPad to US and Sweden in order to download all my favorite TV shows for my upcoming 30-hour flight. And my absolute favorite feature with NordVPN, especially on days like these, is that I can be here in Taiwan, change my internet connection to the US or Sweden, download all my favorite TV shows and movies, and then all you have to do is just to keep your iPad in airplane mode, which it will be on the plane anyway, and then you will have access to all the TV shows, movies from all around the world that you might have downloaded in advance. If you don't believe me, NordVPN of course has a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can try this little hack yourself for 30 days, and if you're not 100% satisfied, you of course get all your money back. And as if that was not enough, if you do use my personal coupon code down in the description, or if you head over to nordvpn.com/Lukas, you will get an extra 4 months regardless of which 2-year plan you sign up for. And although I just want to start to watch all my TV shows and movies right now, I still have some packing left to do, so I think that I need to continue with this while you go and continue with the rest of the video. Without like spoiling any national secrets from either country right now, I'm very curious to hear like how does the Swedish chamber and American chamber are they viewing Taiwan differently? Because normally, like when I talk to just normal foreigners, a Swede's view of just Taiwan and an American's view of Taiwan and the paths of getting here would most likely be very different.
Very different, yeah.
But from a Chamber of Commerce perspective, like how does it look like?
From a Chamber of Commerce perspective, I think all the chambers view Taiwan the same, which is that this is a good place to live and work and do business, and we want to help our members integrate better, do even more business. But then also, I think a part of being a chamber is telling your home country, hey, Taiwan is a good place. You should come over. We should have more meetings between Taiwan and Sweden or Taiwan and the US and forge closer ties, basically. So you're kind of promoting both ways. So in that sense, yeah, I do think, Swedes and Americans probably view Taiwan very differently. Something that they both have in common is that a lot of Swedes and a lot of Americans don't know what Taiwan is.
True.
So, but for those who are interested, it's a bit of a different view. I think it's changed now a bit in Sweden because we have a new government that is a bit more pro-Taiwan. In the US right now, there's bipartisan support for Taiwan, so it's a very good opportunity to actually do a lot of stuff. Sweden's softening up a little bit, but there's still a lot of sensitivity around different issues. But it is an exciting time, I think, now for US Taiwan as well. We just saw the US pass the bill that gives aid to Ukraine, but also to Taiwan. And we're kind of slowly moving forward on double taxation avoidance. It's a big thing here. I don't know, when you got a bank account here in Taiwan, do you remember you have to sign basically a paper saying, I'm not American?
I don't remember signing it, but I believe you if you say that I signed it. Yeah.
Sometimes they do, because if you are American, you have to pay double tax.
You don't care. You just like sit there. You just sit there and like laugh at your American colleagues. Sucks to be you.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're talking to, like, let's say the average Swede and the average American, are there things that if they do know something about Taiwan, are there things that they would know and that would be different comparing like a Sweden and an America?
The thing about the US is it's so diverse and versatile. Like, if you meet people who are interested in politics and international business, maybe they'll have like some understanding of I think especially semiconductor industry and kind of those fields. I think Swedes would know. My impression is they know a little bit more about like the history and the international relationship. But yeah, I still think the average person needs to learn more about Taiwan, no matter where they're
100%, 100%.
But it's the same with Sweden. I mean, I think Taiwanese and Swedish people, we face the same issue. People ask, where are you from? And you say Sweden. And they go, oh yeah, I've never been to Switzerland. Yes. And same with Taiwanese people. They say, I'm from Taiwan. Oh, so it's like Bangkok, or where are you from? So I think that's something that Swedes and Taiwanese have in common, that we need to educate people more on what are we, what do we do.
How do we educate them? What will be like your one sentence reply on how is it to live in Taiwan?
Oh, when people ask what it's like, I always emphasize personal safety. Like, this is such a safe place. And the story I always tell, I went out clubbing, coming home 3-4 a.m., a bit drunk, paying for my taxi. Somehow I dropped my wallet on the street. I don't notice it. I'm going to bed. I'm like, it was a great night. I'm happy. I'm tired. Let's sleep. By the time I wake up, someone has found my wallet on the street, given it to the police. The police recognize the address on my ARC because my parents-in-law, they own a restaurant in the neighborhood. And they call my mother-in-law and they say, do you have a foreign daughter-in-law? And she goes, yes. And they go, well, we have her wallet. So but by the time I wake up 11 the next day, I have a text from my mother-in-law saying, the police has your wallet, you can pick it up. And it still had all of its money, all the cards, everything still left. And I don't think that would happen usually in Sweden or the US.
So the cop recognize the address.
Yeah, because they have the neighborhood police, right?
And recognize you were like connected with your mother-in-law.
Yeah.
What? That's crazy.
If you're in a cafe and you want to save your seat, you just leave your phone on the table, right? I would never do that back home or in the US, ever. Don't do that if you're going traveling. And then I think depending on if I'm speaking to a Swede or an American, you can make different comparisons. Like, to a Swede, I would say people here walk super slowly. Mm-hmm. Like, this it's a nice standard to have, but it's one of my frustrations. But it's nice that that's one of your frustrations. And to an American, I would say people walk here. You know.
Oh, nice.
They don't just drive their car. So you know, it's different type of comparisons.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. What if we turn it around then? What is something, if you have like friends or family from Sweden or the US and they're gonna come here and visit for like 1 or 2 weeks, what is something that you want them to know in advance before coming here, or something that they should pack or prepare themselves in any way? Oh,
I think, okay, I'll take my parents as an example. My parents came twice. Something my mom brought the second time that she didn't the first. Then you have to keep in mind they're like 60-year-old Swedish people.
My parents, okay. Yeah.
She brought a fork or like a spork. Because sometimes she just, you know, depending on what you're picking up, she just couldn't use the chopsticks. And salt.
She brought salt?
Yes.
What? She couldn't even like buy salt in Taiwan?
No, you can buy salt, but like for a Swedish person, our food is pretty salty.
Yes.
So to her, like, she wants to have a breakfast egg with salt on it, but she was at the restaurant or 7 or whatever. She couldn't find like a small bag of salt, so she brought some portion salt. So if you like salty food, maybe you should prepare some. Or if you're having trouble with chopsticks, I also think you can watch YouTube tutorials about that. Otherwise, I think people are super helpful here. If you look lost, someone will try to help you.
What else did you do if you focus on the Swedish chamber first?
The first thing we did was produce the business climate survey. So basically surveyed the Swedish companies in Taiwan about the business climate and what prospects and challenges they have here. And then we organized a lot of meetings between our member companies and some government entities. And we threw a lot of parties. A
lot of parties. As a Swedish national in Taiwan, what I love the most are like the company open days. That like the Swedish companies have, I guess, like for their employees.
Yeah.
Somehow I'm always invited to these, although I'm not an employee by them. But I think it's like so great. Like the thing I remember on top of my head now is like the Ericsson Day, where it's like all the Ericsson employees like the Taiwanese employees at Ericsson gets to enjoy like literally like a Swedish themed day with like their families and get to experience entire Sweden during one day.
The Ericsson Family Day is a great example. They just organize and they bring in the Swedish Chamber and they bring in some other Swedish companies and Swedish people like yourself who are good representatives of Sweden. And you get to try things like floorball and like Swedish snacks. And that's a big part of the Swedish Chamber's job too, is community building. So we did like Semla Day. We've sent out Swedish pastry in February, special day, Midsummer, Lucia celebrations and things like that. That was really fun. Spreading Swedish values and culture.
But still, although you just said that this is amazing, you decided to leave.
Yes.
So sweet. Apparently it was not that great. So you left the Swedish Chamber of Commerce to join the American Chamber of Commerce, still here in Taiwan.
Yes.
Like, first of all, I didn't even know that they would accept like foreigners from like other countries.
Yeah, I'm very talented. No, I was very lucky.
Is that at the American Chamber are like mainly Americans, or like are you the exception?
So,
or is it just like anyone apparently?
Not just anyone, but yes. Okay. We are quite diverse. We have a lot of Taiwanese colleagues, 3 Americans, 4 technically Americans now. 1 guy from Spain, 1 from the UK, and then me, I'm from Sweden.
So what are you doing exactly at the American Chamber right now?
So we have a monthly magazine. It's called Taiwan Business Topics. You can check it out. It's printed every month, but we also put everything up online, no paywall. We have 3 pillars: networking, advocacy, and information. So my team is all about the information and some advocacy as well. So we have the monthly magazine delving into different topics like semiconductor and energy to sports or food. So, you know, anything Taiwan, the US, international community. And then we also do an annual business climate survey. So that's where I had the experience from the Swedish Chamber, and an annual white paper. And our white paper is about 100 pages thick, with around 100 things that our member companies think Taiwan can improve for the sake of business climate and doing business and ease of doing business and investment. And lastly, we have a podcast.
It's like 100 pages just for the title.
Yeah, so it's a lot of work. It's fun.
Wow.
Our newest project is a podcast called The Executive Suite, where we kind of interview business leaders or other leaders in Taiwan about their career management, doing business here, what they like to eat for dessert and stuff like that.
I like this topic. It sounds very, I can relate to this a lot more than...
It's a bit more relaxed than agri-pesticide regulations.
Speaking about pesticides, what do you like to eat?
Yeah, exactly. Something that's really fun about being in charge of our magazine is that you learn so much every month, because it's always a new topic, it's always a new story. So I feel like my learning journey is not over yet there.
What's next in the life of Julia or the American Chamber? Do we have any big plans, or what's happening this year?
Well, we're just in my team, we're working on our podcast still. We're still learning a lot. I was just saying before this, I'm used to interviewing people but not being interviewed. So I hope it went okay.
Just another question about like the podcast and the magazine. Like this sounds very like business leadership oriented.
Yeah.
Is there like anything for like, let's say, average Taiwanese who maybe not be that much interested in like the business leadership, but just wants to know more about like America, or just maybe wants to start like that first step towards like maybe some American partnerships? Is there anything for them as well?
I think for the average person, we do write about like food, travel, culture, sports sometimes, or, you know, more softer topics. We also have a lot of flights starting between Taipei and Seattle. So we want to do some content about that.
Oh.
What's happening in Seattle? Why does everyone want to go to Seattle?
Yeah, I was just going to say, why do everyone want to go to Seattle?
Yeah, we have Amazon, Starbucks, Microsoft, a few big companies there. Yeah, suddenly like Starlux, Eva, Delta, they're all opening routes. So that should be exciting. I want to write something about that.
Please do so. And of course, if you want to read more about the magazine, or if you want to listen to the podcast, which you are the host of,
yes,
then of course you have all the links down in the description as well. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Lukas. Starts with Alice in like, ends with S, and to subscribe. Please do both, and see you all in the next one.